Tonight on Breaking the Conditioning News, the March Against Monsanto 2014. All this and more on Breaking the Conditioning News.
Tonight on Breaking the Conditioning News, we're going to talk about the March Against Monsanto 2014 in Portland. I had a bunch of great conversations with people about permaculture, GMO food, glyphosate, and a bunch of different issues other than GMO food also. Here's a clip.
Awesome. What brings you down here today?
I'm a food security activist. I have been part of fighting Monsanto and Syngenta and the companies seeking to control nature and control our food, and we got to say no.
Nice. Do you think money is playing a big part in why they grow the food? You think it's money, or you think it's some other kind of reason?
You know, they say that, this is going to address food security issues. I don't believe that. I don't believe that we're going to feed more people through GMOs. That's a false story. So that's the only real reason that's worthwhile, and that doesn't play out. There's no good reason. It's just to make money.
Yeah, I think they know from all the studies that it kills mice and kills rabbits, guinea pigs, monkeys, all that stuff.
Butterflies, ladybugs. I mean, I've done Roundup, for example. Mm-hmm. There's some studies where they look at the biodiversity of the soil microorganisms, bugs, weeds. So, and the non-treated area has 50 times more biodiversity. Now, sure, a couple of those are weeds, but really only 1 or 2 of those species are weeds we're trying to get rid of. The other 48 species are like, what do you call it in war? The people, casualty, the casualties that we don't care about, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So I'm here for the bees and the butterflies and the ladybugs. That's,
Yeah, definitely. It's been, we've been here for millions of years, eating normal food, or I guess now it's called organic food.
What we used to just call food.
Yeah, it used to just be called food. It's what our grandparents called it. And now they've gotten all sorts of crazy genes in the food, and our system isn't used to dealing with it. And there's some studies I've seen and conjecture that that it's even changing our DNA. So I think it's obviously, I think they know what they're doing. They're smart enough, and they have enough money, and they've seen enough research to know what it is doing. So I've been trying to figure out what the agenda is.
Did you know that for a long time at Monsanto, the cafeteria only served organic food? They didn't serve GMOs at Monsanto main cafeteria.
I've heard that, yeah.
That should heads up, everyone. They won't eat it. They just want to sell it to you.
Yeah, and it's maybe just about profit, but it seems like they can make the same profit off of growing organic.
Yeah. There's a different manner. I don't begrudge people making a buck, but not at the cost of the rest of the species and the planet. If we're killing bees, which I think there's tons of evidence that we're doing, literally our lives could be at risk within 4 or 5 years. 30 to 50% of what we see in the produce section is pollinated by bees in to some degree. Almonds, 90% of them are pollinated by bees. We won't have any more almonds if we don't quit this.
Excellent. And then another question I was having that I was had been on my mind is, let's say down the road, just simply like boycotting the GMO food doesn't get it off the shelves.
We need to grow our own.
Yeah, since the people are like the victim of the food, and if they're going to keep growing it and keep having it, the pollen be airborne and be just blown around the whole world.
Yes, I actually have some friends who are beet farmers down in Southern Oregon, and their livelihood came at risk when Syngenta started growing GMO beets just a few football fields lengths from their property.
The sugar beets?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the people eventually, do you think that people should take it into their own hands, form some sort of a group, and literally stop? And I'm talking way down the road. Last resort.
I'm just saying that in Southern Oregon, there was a few instances of people pulling up the GMO beets and burning them. And while I don't know anything about the details of that, I support that.
Me too. Definitely.
I think we should burn it. And one of the things that's a big risk in Oregon is alfalfa. And alfalfa for years hasn't even been allowed to grow in this area, whether or not it was GMO. Before that additional risk of genetic engineering, alfalfa was threatening the livelihoods of seed farmers. Oregon, the Willamette Valley area has some of the most ideal land for seed growing, that for seed companies in the world. And when we allow GMOs to be grown in our state, we're putting all of those people at risk, all of their businesses at risk. And if you just want to talk about money, we could do that. It doesn't pan out even. I mean, the costs to the rest of us should outweigh the profit of a few.
For sure. And then the corn is a big one. The corn seems to be in everything. The fructose corn syrup, cornstarch, all sorts of corn derivatives.
Animal feed is a huge one. Do you know that I actually talked to a pig farmer and his animals were not doing too good, and he switched over to organic feed, and within like a month, all of the problems resolved?
Definitely. And a lot of it's that bacteria that I brought up earlier, that Bacillus thuringiensis.
They insert bacteria into the genes of the corn.
Yeah, and then it can't be killed by Roundup. and then all this, I'm sure you've seen the animal studies, a bunch of them where it messes up the organs, and especially the stomach. It'll poke holes in the stomach of the insects.
In addition to Roundup Ready, there's also BT corn, and BT is where they actually insert a pesticide into the corn so that when the bugs eat it, they'll die, and they can. It's so skips a step. They don't have to bother to apply it. And that it's actually in all of the cells of the corn, not just the leaves or the roots where the little creepy larvae eat,
That's the Bacillus thuringiensis, thuringiensis,
exactly.
the BT. They found it.
I don't even know how to say it. I just say BT.
Yeah, it took me a minute to memorize it too. But they, I guess they found it near where they were keeping their Roundup at, in a huge vats where it was leaking, and this bacteria was surviving there. And so that's where they found the bacteria at, was surviving the Roundup leakage, and then they gathered it up, started breeding it.
I'd like to see the articles about that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, I actually ran for office a couple years ago on a no GMO platform. I ran for East Multnomah Soil and Water Conservation District.
Nice.
On the desire to reduce Roundup use in Multnomah County and address the issues of genetic engineering. And I didn't win, but it was a great experience, and I got a lot of votes, and I think I raised the visibility of the issue, which was my real goal.
Definitely, yeah, and you got to do something. If you don't do anything, nothing's going to happen. They're just going to continue to take over. Right. Another thing about the Roundup too is that it leaks into the water supply.
That's absolutely right. Breast milk, 90% of American and Canadian women that have been tested have Roundup in their breast milk.
Yep, and in the fetus. And then where I grew up, I actually grew up in Newburgh. It's
Pregnant women, of course, women who are, breastfeeding, not other women. They just have it in the rest of their body.
Exactly. But I remember growing up in Newburgh out there. We have the Willamette goes through there, and the Willamette goes near a bunch of different farms. There's a bunch of farm area, and it drains off into the Willamette. And even in Newburgh, which is quite a bit further, up the stream than Portland, it's all the fish out there are deformed, and they have crooked spines and multiple eyes and multiple fins. And
hello.
Yeah, that's from. What was the big reason?
Oh, I think there's a lot of damage done to the environment. Most of the application of GMO crops are herbicide resistant, such as soy, and there's a lot of damage to the environment and habitat when they apply a lot of Roundup herbicide.
That's true. Do you think they're ever going to be able to label GMOs, even though it keeps getting shut down?
Oh yeah, well Vermont just passed it.
Nice. Okay, I was hearing about that. I saw it on Facebook, but yeah, that's definitely a big step forward. Maybe they'll be since they did it first. Now maybe the rest of them will fall like dominoes. Maybe.
Oh yeah, it's just a matter of time, really. With the big money loses sooner or later.
Yeah, definitely. And then I see you got the monarch butterfly sign there. Actually, yeah, tell me something about that.
Oh, they're about 5% of their historic population at this point. It used to be over 1 billion in the migration from Mexico up through North America. Now it's about 5% of that, affecting not only monarchs, but warblers, wood warblers, which migrate from South America, depend on caterpillars for their diet. And if we destroy the monarchs, we destroy the diet for the wood warblers also. It's a chain reaction. It's a horrible chain reaction.
And if we lose the butterflies, what do you think the most significant thing to the food chain and to the overall, organic, nature-designed food-growing operation? What do you think is going to happen? The worst thing?
Well, there's pollinators also, but they're not nearly as significant as honeybees, of course, or bumblebees. But they are part of the pollination scheme.
And it seems like that should be a sign, that they're killing the butterflies, the bees, and all the other studies that have been done on animals with the GMO food, but still they keep pumping it out. You think it's money-based is why they're doing it?
Oh yeah, they want to sell a lot of herbicide.
That's true. There's been a lot of talk that it's also for depopulation, possibly. There seems to be half the people think it's for money, the other half think it's for depopulation. Do you have a thought on that?
Well, if it's for depopulation, they're failing horribly, because the population is rising exponentially, right?
Yeah, that's true, I guess. I've seen the studies where the mice they can't reproduce after 3 generations. So maybe it'll take another generation or 2 before it starts to actually take effect with humans, because we live so much longer. But I think that might be I think it might be money too. I think I'm on that bandwagon.
Well, that's the first I heard of that. I appreciate that information, but that remains to be seen. Maybe so.
Definitely. Do you have a YouTube page or
No.
nothing like that? Okay, awesome. Well, thanks.
I do plant milkweed, though. I plant milkweed.
Nice. You garden yourself?
Absolutely, yes. Yep.
Awesome. And you obviously grow organic food without Roundup.
Oh, got it.
And one thing too I was going to mention is the Roundup getting into the water supply.
I don't know that much about that.
Because they use it on in mass on massive crops, and it leaches down, and they found glyphosate in the water.
Oh my God.
In the public waterways, and it's also in the rivers. There's been a lot of the rivers out here have deformed fish in them, and part of it's from chemical fertilizer. And it's been said that the Roundup, the glyphosate, is causing some of the crooked spines, multiple eyes, multiple fins, extra fins, and all that. So I think they're playing with fire.
I think Rachel Carson tried to tell us about this in 1962, right?
Yeah, exactly. We've been hearing about it. There's been a bunch of people throughout the years that have mentioned something about it, and I guess the technology's been around a lot longer than they've been using it for. One thing I've been asking too is, do you think if just boycotting it doesn't work down the line, just because Monsanto doesn't own the world, do you think that people should get together in a group and physically stop it as a last resort?
I'm not sure how that would be organized. I mean, go out and pull crops out of fields, I guess it could be done as a last resort.
Burn it down?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, maybe it'll come to that, I mean, I still have some faith in the system, to pass laws within the system. Don't ask me why I have that faith.
Yeah, because it's a revolving door from Monsanto to the FDA to the White House of people, so it's hard to have any faith in them anymore. It seems like they're all taking payments of some sort to do the bidding of these corporations. The government almost seems completely in a corporate takeover at this point.
Well, we need some leadership that's going to make this a major issue then.
Definitely. Well, thanks for talking with me. That was awesome. Awesome. I've got a great interview here with Guy Fawkes.
AKA Cassandra.
Oh, there we go, Cassandra. Actually, yeah, let's see your sign real quick. That's pretty awesome.
I actually used this last year in Salt Lake City.
Nice, excellent. What's some of the main issues you've got with the GMO food? I guess we can go there.
They're poisoning us. They are slowly killing us. We have over 66 other countries that have banned them. Mexico just recently stopped importing GMOs because they know that there's links to cancer, tumors, obesity, Alzheimer's, everything. It's rotten. We have plenty of food in the world. It's the problem with the money.
It is. That's what I was just going to ask you. Do you think it's all money-based, or do you think there's been a lot of people saying that it might be for some kind of population control? Do you think it's that or the money or both?
I think it's a combination. I do think that the Illuminati's behind it. Agenda 21. What a way to get rid of us.
I've noticed whenever I mention Agenda 21 to anybody or Codex Alimentarius, the general public's like, what? I've never heard of that. And then you start to explain it to them, and the immediate thing is that they almost don't believe you.
Oh yes, you're called a conspiracy theorist, and even talking about 9/11 to people. A lot of people don't realize that there was Trade Center number 7 that collapsed that same day. I work construction. Those were controlled demolitions.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. You know who knew who it was the police. All the police all over the whole country knew what it was because they're trained. When they show up even to your house, let's say somebody steals your car, they show up to your house, the first person they point the finger at is you. You might have done it for insurance purposes. They know what a false flag is. They deal with it every day. So the military and the police were already hip to it. It's the general public that doesn't know your general, the super obvious tactics of the White House or any military. the Hail Mary or the false flag is the one that everybody uses over and over again. As soon as something blows up in a country, you always go straight to whoever the leaders of the country are. They probably did it to their own country to to either take away some kind of rights or to push some sort of agenda that they couldn't before.
Yes, like where we are now.
Like when Rahm Emanuel stood up and said, this is during, I think it was after 9/11 or some catastrophe, and he said, this is now a time where we can do stuff we wouldn't normally be able to do. And it's not even that they're letting the cat out of the bag. It's been done for hundreds, probably even thousands of years.
Yes. Yep.
Definitely. And one thing we've been talking about today too is the Roundup. Not just the GMO food, and all its dangers and all the genes that aren't compatible with us eating them, and they get into our genes and all sorts of bad stuff. But the glyphosate itself, it gets into the waterways.
It's toxic to our whole planet. All the chemicals that we're using and getting sprayed, and the chemtrails. The sky didn't look like that when I was a kid. You could tell a plane flew over, but then it dissipated. Now that stuff is lingering, and there's talk that it's trying to manipulate the weather to create droughts, create famines, create crises so they can control the people.
Absolutely, it's for control, and it's probably for population control too. I've been trying to figure out what was up with the chemtrails for the last couple years, and then about a month ago I was sitting in a parking lot waiting for somebody in my car, and I saw a plane leaving a contrail, as they're called, which we know they're chemtrails. Woo! And I thought the plane had malfunctioned and fell out of the sky because I saw the trail stopped. And then, so I got out of the car and looked up, and I actually saw the plane further up in the sky, and not leaving a contrail anymore, but the little bit of contrail was there. I was actually witness to them shutting off whatever it is that they're spraying. So I'm no longer on the fence about it anymore.
There's a video of a plane landing, and they forgot to shut it off. And I actually think that pilot did that on purpose because it was filmed, and it's been put on YouTube. They're trying to get rid of it, trying to ban it. They don't want the information getting out there.
Yeah, I have seen that video. I've seen a few others, another from a private jet where they go up and follow a plane, and then the plane turns it off. Maybe also to expose it too. Maybe the pilot wants to expose it. I've also heard that a lot of the pilots don't even know it's automatically being sprayed, and they are not even sure that it's happening. And then I believe it's barium and liquid aluminum or an aerosol type aluminum that they're spraying, and that's all falling down onto the plants, getting into the food, getting into us, getting into the waterway. Also,
Albert Einstein said, you let the bees go, we're going to go with it. Now they want to engineer a bee. Really? Let's just leave stuff alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else? Anything other good points you want to bring up?
No, just power in numbers and making people aware. A lot of people don't even understand the concept of a GMO. They just look at it as like, well, you're just crazy. You're just worried about nothing. Well, no, there is a major concern with our food. And
there is, and it may sterilize the mice within 3 generations, but it takes a long time for humans to breed 3 generations. Yep. So just because it's not a danger right in front of their face, it doesn't become an issue. But if anyone looks at any person from the general population looks at all the studies on the animals from mice, guinea pigs, rabbits, monkeys.
Numbers of infertility cases and how many people are having to go, use science, and because there's something going on there.
Yeah, all the fertility clinics that are popping up everywhere.
Oh, yeah. It's horrible. Well, awesome. I'm glad you're out here.
Yeah, thanks for letting me talk to you for a minute.
All right. Are you ready to walk? Ready to raise your voice? Ready to drop Monsanto? Drop GMO? All right. We're forming over here.
Let's do it. Do it.
And then come back here because we're going to continue our protest.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Show me that sign.
This side is say no GMOs. This side is go fork yourself.
I love it. That's awesome.
So here's the thing about genetically modified organisms. Even if you don't believe that they're bad for human consumption, 39 countries have banned them. If America wants to stay competitive, we need to ban them too.
Right.
You're not going to take our exports.
We're like idiots compared to the rest of them.
Sad but true.
Well, that goes for that goes for chemicals too. The rest of the European Union is now saying that chemicals need to be proven safe. So they're not assuming that they're safe. They're assuming they're harmful until they're proved otherwise. So we gave them backwards.
We look at all the, raising rates of cancer and all the birth defects and autism, and we don't think that has anything to do with the food we're eating and the chemicals all over our environment. Americans. It's okay, we're wising up.
To sum up my experience at the March Against Monsanto 2014 in Portland, I just really appreciate everybody making time to give me interviews and everybody being so educated on the issue. And as this show goes on, as my new show goes on, I swear I'll do better. It's kind of I'm just getting used to the format right now, so bear with me. And I will make more special reports, and the show will end up being a half hour with multiple different topics. So awesome. I appreciate it. Have a good night.